So I started watching season 2 of Euphoria last week and I still have a couple of episodes left, but anyway, right after that, I just started watching a bunch of the cast interviews and I just fell down a rabbit hole from there. I just love the cast of the show so much, and then I came across this article where Jacob Elordi was talking about some of his favorite books and authors, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to read some of his recommended books for a week, and so that's what I did. I just spent the past week reading these books and I have to say, Jacob Elordi has a really good book taste. So the first one that I read was Nausea by Sartre, and this is actually my first novel that I read from this author. I've read like quotes and essays from him before, but not like a full-length novel, and I actually really enjoyed this one. And Jacob also mentioned that this is one of his favorite writers. This is a book about existentialism, and it is so beautifully written and filled with so many philosophical debates. I've been trying to read more books with philosophical themes in it, so I'm really glad that I picked this one up. The characters are strangely relatable, so that is oddly comforting, but the story is essentially plotless because most of the time we just get passages of the main character's thoughts and feelings. If you haven't read this book before, I would highly recommend it. Next up, I read On the Road by Jack Kerouac, and unfortunately, I just didn't really like this one. The whole book is written in a very stream of consciousness type of way, I would say, but I really found the story to be quite slow and really dragged on at some parts. And don't hate me, but I just didn't really like the characters. But I can totally see how Jacob would really enjoy this book and how the story impacted him, but this one just isn't for me. For the next one, I've actually read this before, and it is The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and this is possibly one of my favorite books of all time. The writing in this book is just so beautiful, the prose and everything is so poetic, and I just underlined so many quotes and passages in this. Now, the characters are just horrible people who does terrible things and has questionable morals, but I think that's what makes them so interesting and captivating. This book really gripped me from the opening line, and I'm just gonna read it. There's such a thing as the fatal flaw, that showy dark crack running down the middle of a life, exists outside literature. I used to think it didn't. Now I think it does. And the thing that mine is this: a morbid longing for the picturesque at all costs. So if you haven't read this already, I would highly recommend it, and you won't be disappointed. And these are all the books I read that Jacob Elordi has recommended. And even though I didn't really enjoy this one, but I still think his book taste is immaculate. Okay, right now I should probably go and finish the rest of season 2 of Euphoria.